Good morning, Arvin. Sorry, one sec. I gotta run back upstairs real quick. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. Let's see. Come into the office. Come, chat. Come in here. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm brewing my own boiled coffee. No espresso. Plus hot water this time. Nice. I like it. It's always nice to switch it up. You know, there's so many different ways you can make coffee. It doesn't have to be the same every day. It's the beautiful thing about it. Let me get my... I bought this yesterday at Target. It's basically like a little phone stand, iPad stand thing. Cost me like 15 bucks. But man, I wish I would have bought this like a long time ago. Like a long, long time ago. It's so good. Excuse me. Alright. So today we are doing day 4, part dose of admin of code. I really haven't heard anybody talk about this advent of code in Discord, so I'm not sure if it's hard or if it's easy or what the story is. Part 1 was pretty straightforward, so I'm hoping part 2 kind of follows in its footsteps, but we'll see. We shall see. You never know with these things. You never know. Alright, let's get ourselves a little bit of... Man, look at all this. Look, this is like a few months of us doing stuff on stream. Just all the scribbles. A life in scribbles. Okay. Here we go. And then let's open up Advent of Code. Yes, good morning indeed, Arvin. I hope you're doing well, man. I hope your coffee is extra strong, delicious. I'm curious, Arvin, you are in Iran, or Iran. So is it coffee or tea there? What's the culture around caffeinated beverages? Because I'd say here in the United States, it's very much a coffee culture, you know, but I know in other countries, it's very much a tea culture. There we go. Okay, let's make this a little bigger. Open another tab. Make that a little bigger. CD into advent of code. We've got to do a git pull because I ended up... Do I have to do a git pull? Oh no, because I did this work on this desktop. I did end up I don't know if you guys, if you weren't here yesterday, and this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but I did end up refactoring the solution from yesterday, part 1, just so that we could reuse that grid implementation in the future. Let me show you what I mean. Hold on. Let's do git checkout solve day 4 part 2. Oh, gotta throw that dash B in there. Dash B. Make it push. Arvin, it is weak on caffeine. I choose this way because too much coffee is giving me bones and joint problems. Don't forget your vitamin D and calcium. Yes, do not forget your vitamin D and calcium. So I've never heard that coffee can give people bone and joint problems. That's news to me. Yeah, I hope you're doing okay, man. I've never heard that before, but that does not sound fun. Does not sound fun at all. Oh, we should probably do a quick peek and make sure our member list is up to date. Hold on, let me do that really quick. I swear, I'm basically, at this point, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel so that at some point I can automate the members list problem. YouTube Studio, let's see, we have 12 members, I think, last time I checked. Oh, we only have 10 now, so we do need to do an update. So let's go CD into membership monitor. We need to open up the JSON file. And then we have to do the manual retrieval of the list via the API. YouTube's taking a big L on this whole thing, I tell you what. Historically, it's been a T nation, but younglings, I love that, younglings, starting with late millennials that are entering their 30s right now, coffee has become progressively more popular. Nice. Do you think that's like a reaction to like, we don't want to be like our parents, or what do you think's driving that adoption of tea? There's a large number of coffee shops throughout the city. So do you think that's actually a preference thing? Like there wasn't coffee there 30 years ago and now there is coffee there, and so people are just, they prefer it? Or do you think it's a novelty thing? Do you think it's like a anti-old people? Like we're not, my grandpa drinks tea, so I'm not, I'm gonna drink coffee or something like that. I mean, young people do that. I mean, now that I have 2 kids, I know, like, my 2 kids will just always pick opposite of whatever I pick. Oops. Okay, then we have to copy paste this. This happens every time we have to update the members list. We have to do this. And then we run this little tool here to generate the text that you see on the screen. And we should be good now. Brandon and Stefan, we have 2 people who have been members for 2 months. That's pretty freaking sweet. And then we'll go back to admin code. Alright, finally, getting to the problem at hand. Oh no! I don't know why this happens, but it's a very easy thing to fix. I just have to uninstall the GitHub theme plugin, and then I reinstall it, and that fixes that error. Let's see. Yes, coffee depletes calcium from bloodstream and it reduces vitamin D absorption, which in turn reduces calcium absorption as well. It's twofold on the calcium side of things. It also depletes bloodstream of some chemical that is good for joints as well. Huh. Man, in all the years that I've been hanging around in the health and fitness space, I've literally never heard that. So I'm gonna have to add that to my list of things to research. I mean, not that I don't think you're like, not that I feel like you're trying to lie to me, but just because I've never heard that. So I feel like, as someone who kind of prides himself on being up on what's going on with my health, yeah, and I drink a lot of coffee, so I should probably figure out what's going on with that. Okay, so here's where I ended up with my refactor from yesterday. It's actually came out like way better than I even could have hoped for. So we basically call grid, we pass in our input, then we loop over all the positions in the grid, we get the value, we check and see if that value is a paper roll character. If it's not, then we just move on to the next position. If it is, then we get all the neighbors that are just like it, meaning all the other paper rolls next to it. If the number of those neighbors is less than 4, then we count it in our total, and then we return that total. So turned out I'm really happy with the way this grid abstraction turned out. I was kind of unsure about it there for a minute, but yeah, it turned out good. So we'll see how this lends itself to part 2. I don't really know if this will lend itself well to part 2, but hopefully we can reuse it in the future too if some of the other problems are grid-based. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do was I need to get AOC day 4. I need to retrieve this again just so I get part 2 of the problem. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and start figuring out what we're trying to accomplish in part 2. I think it's more of exposure / access thing. Past generations didn't know coffee and didn't have access to it. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like, now that there are large numbers of coffee shops in the cities, people are like, hey, this shit's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with tea, honestly. I mean, tea's fine. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't have, to me, it almost tastes like, it tastes similar to like those flavored beverages where someone like, it almost tastes like someone spit in your drink a little bit. It's just not, I don't think the flavor's strong enough in a lot of cases. Man, now Arvin's got me panicking that this coffee I'm drinking here is eating my bones. This is why you don't go on the internet, folks. It causes you anxiety. LOL, take on tea. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, it's not that it's bad. It's just I really prefer a strong, dark, bold, rich cup of coffee over tea. Oh man, my son's getting ready to start basketball practice this week, and they have like an app where all the parents communicate about the team and what's going on with the team. There's like 30 messages in this app this morning. What were these folks talking about last night? Jesus. It was Sunday, folks. Stay off your phone. Okay. Let me introduce you to herbal drinks. Isn't that what tea is? Isn't tea an herbal drink? Isn't an herbal drink just a drink that's made from an herb? Well, in a little bit, we're gonna go make our herbal drink. I feel like coffee counts as an herbal drink. How about that? It's not really an herb, it's a plant, but I feel like coffee counts. All right. When you combine a few plant shit, throw them in flasks, boiling, close to boiling for 15, approximately 60 minutes. Good for health, good for mind, etc. Hey, man, I'm sure it does something for you. Although you just got to remember, you're talking to somebody who went to school for biochemistry. So if you start making claims about like plants, or if you start making claims about diet and exercise towards me, I will likely go down a rabbit hole to figure out if these claims are justified. Good morning, Oblivious. I finally make it early. Yeah, you were here a little later yesterday. I mean, you were still here for like a good bit of time. But good morning. All right, let's figure out what the elves need us to do. All right, now the elves just need help accessing as much of the paper as they can. Once a roll of paper can be accessed by a forklift, it can be removed. Once a roll of paper is removed, the forklifts might be able to access more rolls of paper, because, you know, like, why not? which they also might be able to remove. Oh shit, this is like almost like a chain reaction domino effect type of situation, right? How many total rolls of paper could the elves remove if they keep repeating this process? Starting with the same example as above, here is one way you could remove as many rolls of paper as possible using highlighted rolls of paper to indicate that a roll of paper is about to be removed, and using X to indicate that a roll of paper was just removed. Yeah, so this is basically the original thing we solved in part one, right? So we had rolls of paper that we could remove, and then we basically removed 12. Then we removed 7. Then we removed 5. Then we removed 2. Then we remove 1, and so on and so forth, all the way down. So the problem here is that if we do this in a very brute force way, right, which means if we basically do a scan every time, so we would scan, figure out the 13, then we remove 1, and we scan again, right? And then that's going to generate a new set of scans we need to do, and so on and so forth. We're going to have this like O of n squared, I think, explosion, or maybe O of n times k type of like, boom, lots and lots of iterations. So that's no fun. Take a look at Moldovan balm tree. It does something to brain that reduces the anxiety hormone like 70%. We drink a plant from its family like once a week. The Moldovan palm tree? Moldovia makes me think of that movie with Anne Hathaway. I think it's Anne Hathaway. Moldovia movie. Not A Christmas Prince. This one, The Princess Diaries. That's what that movie. That's what Moldovia makes me think of. So Moldovia palm tree. Anxiety drink? Are you making this shit up, Arvin? The herbal tea is brewed to help digestive distress, to support the whole body health, and drink a boost of mood. Well, I'm guessing if I go to Google Scholar, there's probably not much here about this. Google Scholar. Moldovi. What'd you call it? Moldovan. Let's see. I don't see anything with Moldovia in it yet. Yeah, this feels like a recommendation that's kind of based on a little bit of pseudoscience, but you know, I'm not gonna shit on it. I mean, the placebo effect is a real thing. If you think something helps you with your anxiety, it probably helps you with your anxiety. Arvin, don't buy this health bro shit. Buy raw leaves. How about just follow proper medical and scientific guidance? I'm not gonna say that you can't do things for you that make you feel good. I'm just, it's another thing to make claims about something, right? Without having evidence to support those claims. The problem at hand, though, anxiety tea aside, the problem at hand, though, kind of makes me think of almost like some sort of, it makes me think of like a breadth first or a depth first search, or actually it's probably more like a graph. Because I don't think we need to scan over every. I don't think we need to do that. I think what we could do is we could do one scan originally to find the first 13, right? And then what I think we could do I wonder. Because what they're kind of doing here is kind of a shotgun approach, isn't it? It's just like remove them, find them again, remove them all, find them all again, remove them all, find them all again. So it's almost like you just slap yeah, let me hold on. Let me throw a test in here. I think there's a way to do this like from a brute force perspective, but I also think there's a way to do this in a more like a smart way. Not in a brute way. In our country, we have special shops for this kind of herbal stuff. We buy leaves with little money. I will link you academic papers in Discord. Yes, throw me. Hey man, if you throwing claims out there, drop the papers. I will happily appreciate that. We have herbal tea shops here in the States too. Yeah, for sure that's a thing here in the States. Copilot. Silencio Copilot. I haven't added that command yet. What did they say the solution was on part 2? They said the solution is 43. So 43. So result is going to be equal to solution dot solve part 2. Like that. And then just gonna copy this guy. Yank that, paste that. We'll define a new solve part 2 function. And for this one, we'll just return 0 for now. Why are you angry? Because there's already a part 1 function. Make it part 2. Go over here, go test cmd04 and run it. Okay, it fails. So my idea here is I can basically, okay, here's my idea. If we do something like number, let's copy this. We'll put this here. All right. So my idea is that every time we loop over the grid, we're essentially going to what are we gonna do? This is my initial idea, right? So we have a total, that's fine, but we're gonna have a loop that's like while like a while true loop almost. Like this is the most brute force attempt that I can think of that basically replicates what they're showing us here, where we just every time we do that, every time we scan, after we scan, we figure out how many rolls of paper we can remove, and then we remove those paper from the grid, and then we rescan the grid, and we just repeat that until the scan returns us no rolls of paper that we can remove. But I think that that's going to end up in a lot of scans, like a lot of scans, especially with a big input like our example or like our actual input. Like this is our actual input, and it's fairly sizable. 136. It's 136 by 136. So, but I'm curious if this will actually solve it. If brute forcing this will actually work. So, let's see. So while true, we are gonna say positions to remove is going to be a slice of positions like that, and then we'll do our normal scan. Right. And so if we're in here, if the length is less than 4, then we found a position to remove, because we can get to it. Remember, this is the important thing to remember. So we'll put the current position here. Oh, we need to reassign. Need to reassign. Like that. You can buy 100 grams of thyme for a price of pizza? That seems weird. Yeah, herbal medicine is popular here in the United States. I mean, the United States, pseudoscience in general is very popular here. I mean, people would much rather hear that they can drink something to make themselves feel better or look better than actually do something to make themselves feel better or look better. I mean, that's the thing is the placebo effect is very real. So if you really do genuinely believe that drinking tea brewed with a particular plant really does do something for you, there's a high likelihood that's going to cause it to actually do something for you. This is like the placebo effect is well established in the literature. Not to say there aren't real benefits from some of these medicinal or these herbal things that you're talking about. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying that compounds the murkiness, or it muddies the water of what's actually true and what's not. I'd much prefer to drink coffee, which increases your levels of anxiety. Oh, also, this should not be a while loop. This should be a for loop because I'm writing Go and not C#. Good morning, Renee. Good to see you. Oh, Renee, that's funny. You're one of the members that fell off. That's funny. I had 2 members that had fallen off this morning, and excuse me. Now I realize one of them was you, which is totally fine. It's totally fine. I just didn't recognize your username because it didn't have the little blue star next to it. Where's my membership star? I think it fell off. You must have had a gifted membership. We had last month we had a guy come into one of our streams and drop 100 gifted members, and so I think a lot of people had memberships because of that. That's probably where it went. Which is not a big deal. Yeah, there's no pressure to be a member. Like yeah, there's no pressure. No pressure to be a member, no pressure to be a subscriber. If you want to hang out here, hang out here. Yeah, totally cool with me. Okay, so the first time we finish our scan, right, I think what we want to do is we want to check to see, okay, if positions to remove, if the length of this is, if this equals 0, like there's nothing there, then we need to break. Otherwise, now we need to prepare to scan again, right? So in order to scan again, we have to do some things. And what are those things? Well, I guess what we could do is if the value is not a roll paper character, or oh, actually, I have a better idea. Hold on. I have a better idea. Instead of having this be a list, let's make this a map. And we'll just make it a bool. And then instead of doing that, we're going to do positions to remove here. And we'll just set this equal to true. And the reason we're doing that is so that up here, we can say is removed position, and then we can do positions to remove and pass in that position. And if it is a removed position, then we can continue. So theoretically, what this is representing is it's representing the fact that what is it representing? No, that's not gonna work, because our get neighbors check is what's the most important, and the get neighbors check works against the internal map. No, I bought my membership last time. We'll see if there's an option for a year, because I don't see a recurring option. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know very much about the membership thing. So I'm not sure why you lost your blue star, but unfortunately you did. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to add a new method to our grid position. Or to our grid implementation. I think it just needs to be a func new that takes in basically positions, right, of this particular type. Like that. Returns a grid. And it just returns a grid with the positions field set to whatever positions were passed in. And the reason we need to do this is because we essentially, once we get through the loop, we need to create a new grid and reassign it to the old grid, like so. So we need to say existing positions equals grid.positions, and then we need to loop over the existing, or we need to loop over the positions to remove. I don't know, I'm making this up as I go, people. I still don't think this is the optimal solution, but I think it might get us to a solution, and then we can refactor from there to something better, but we'll know what the answer is. So we'll do for underscore position equals range over grid, no, over positions to remove. And then what we'll essentially do is we'll basically remove it. So we'll say existing positions at this position, and we're gonna set that to a empty or a blank. Oh, we don't have that anymore. I think I must have removed that when we did our, so we'll say const empty space character. Cannot use, oh, that's because I changed this to a map. So I'm going to do equals positions remove dot append. This. Okay, so basically we scan, this is our scan. I'm just gonna just kind of segment this up. We scan for paper or for our roles, we can remove, right? Then if nothing can be removed, we are done. If there can be stuff, if stuff to remove it and rescan the grid, right? So then what we can do is we'll reassign grid to a new grid. Crap, this is where having conflicting names is kind of a pain. So we'll just do G grid. And we'll pass in the existing positions like so. Okay. And just as a litmus test, let's actually, in our grid, let's implement a, what is the thing in Go that you implement that controls how it's printed? I think it's a stringer implementation, or a stringer interface. Stringer interface in Go. Stringer is a type that can describe itself. Yeah, this is what I want. So let's go here and let's define a function. Let's call it function, what is it? It needs a receiver type grid string and returns a grid. So we'll throw function G grid string returns a string. And what I want to do here is I basically want to print the grid, and I'm just going to do this for debug purposes. Renee, this is where conflicting names are a pain. Yeah. When I name things poorly, then I pay the price. Hey, good morning, 6-7 Alaska. It's good to see you again. I don't think you were here yesterday at all, so nice to see you. What was it, Saturday? Saturday, you dropped $20 in super chats on me, and then I didn't see you for a whole day, man. So we are going to we're basically going to loop over, get the position, print the value. So we'll do for row range over G dot we can access the internal field, so we can say number of rows, and then we'll say for column range G dot number of columns, and then we'll say position is equal to positions. So this will be position is equal to a new position dot from the row and the column, and then we'll say value equals current value. So it's going to be G dot positions. That. And then we need to build up a string, right? So we need to say row string This will be we can basically do row string is equal to string dot builder, like that. Declare to not use missing argument in conversion to string builder. So how do I new up a string builder? I feel like I've done that before, but I don't remember doing it. How to new up string builder in Go. Mason, created an API yet with Go? We fucked around with one for a little while. We were building like a API for like a coffee shop, and that was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I don't know if we'll ever go back and finish it, but it was good times. Can you show me an example? I'll just ask Gemini, because I don't remember how to do it. How do I create a string builder in Go? Renee, me, when I figure out what names for coding. What are words? What is A? This is rock. This is stick. Yeah. Naming things is hard. Although I will say that at times... Oh, you just declare it. I will say that at times I find the amount of effort that software engineers or developers fuss over naming something is a little frustrating at times, you know? I think sometimes naming does matter, but I think in a lot of cases also naming doesn't matter, if that makes sense. I know, that's weird, but it's how I feel. We'll need two string builders. We're going to have a row string, and we're going to have a column string. Right? Yeah. Column string. So our column string is going to be column string dot write. Write string appends the contents of S to buffer. It returns the length of S. It probably doesn't add a new line though, does it? So do column string, or no, value, sorry. Value. And then at the end of the row, outside at the end of each row, we will do row string dot write string to, like that. And then at the very end, we will return the row string. So now we have a way to print the grid, I believe. Although I don't know if write string appends like a line or if I need to add that. Does write string add a line, a new line? No, write string does not add a new line. If you run this code, output is line 1, line 2. So we have to add an explicit new line. Okay. I guess then we need to add that here plus new line like that. The whole point of this being that then when I go up to my main, what we're gonna do is just to kind of see if we're even on the right track here. Is we're gonna say if we're gonna have a count of 0, and we're gonna say if count if count does not equal 0, just return. Or just break, sorry, just break. And so what we'll do is at the top of the loop, we're gonna print, right? So we're gonna say grid, format dot print grid, or G, sorry. And then at the bottom here, we're gonna print it again, just so we can see how that grid is actually changing. So we'll do go test CMD, but we only want to run this one part 2. Oh, that that passed. Okay, so but I wanna see the outputs. So maybe that, so I mean basically that tells us we solved at least the example input with the solution we have. So let's do go. That was it was very surprising that that passed. Go run test and view all print statements. The best way to test print statement without passing. Well, that's Gemini again. Good old Gemini, my good friend Gemini. I'm running tests in Go, and my tests print the console, but when the tests pass, I don't see those print statements. How can I see them regardless of the test failing or passing? Steven, I think you mistyped Moldovan balm as palm. That is why it didn't return shit. Okay, fair enough. Well, you're gonna get me the literature, so you get me the literature and I'll do the review. By default, Go test runner suppresses output. Adding -v tells the runner to print the output for every test, including the ones that pass. Alternatively, use t.log versus format.println. While format.println writes directly to standard output, is generally better practice. I don't think -v works though. I think if I do -v, it won't work. Nope, never mind. It worked. So there's the first print. But I should have a second print in here somewhere. Right? After. Oh. I think it's breaking here. I don't think it's getting down below. So I don't think this is actually passing. Right? Because we're not even doing the full scan. So I don't know why my test case is reporting a pass. I'm confused. I'm confused. So this is not working. Just to be clear, this is not working. But I don't understand why it's printing all those statements. So I'm a little perplexed at the moment. What's interesting is that this it expects 43, and for whatever reason the result it's getting back is the right result, which doesn't seem like it should be the case. Test solve part 2 with example input. That's what I'm testing. And I'm so confused. See, it says it's passing. So why? That's interesting. Adam, thanks for subbing. Appreciate it. Steven, in our country, we don't have access to Moldovan balm, but there's another plant, lemon balm, that has the same effect. We consume that one. Oh, nice. Cool. There you go. 6-7, what problem are you trying to solve? Mind if I give educated guesses? No, I would prefer it if you guys didn't try to solve it for me. The problem, though, I am trying to solve is publicly available on AOC's website, which I'll put in the chat. So this is day 4, and this is part 2 of day 4, and you can't get to day 2 or part 2 without going through part 1 of day 4. But if you're interested and this problem strikes you as interesting, please go and solve it. So I think what's happening, the reason why it's working is because I have this, let me show you. I have this thing I did so that we could only cycle through one step. The problem is I'm not actually incrementing that count anywhere. So it's just continuing to loop forever. So if I rerun this now, it should fail, and it should only print 2 print statements. Yeah, so it fails. But what I don't understand is why the grid after is blank. That seems odd to me. So I'm going to give a little bit of diagnosis here really quick, just so I can see what's going on. Where are we at? We're in the grid function. So let's just add a print statement here that says print line calling string on grid. We should see this show up twice. I just want to be able to visualize the grid changing. That's all I want to see. I don't know why that's so hard. So we're calling string on grid, but for whatever reason, it's acting like there's nothing in there. So I guess format.println, what is the length of g.position? There has to be something here because the subsequent iterations are working. Whenever we go through the whole thing, they're working. But I don't know why. See, there's 100 right there. So what the hell is happening? I know this is really, really dumb, but I'm just gonna print line the row string. Or the, I guess, or the call. I'm gonna print line the column string. Also, do I need to call string on this? Yeah, I do. community believes in your code. Well, I appreciate that. Huh. This is so wild. So for whatever reason, what about if I do that? Does that have something to do with the fact I'm returning interfaces? No? I have no idea why it's doing that. How strange. In any event, let's remove the count here and see if this actually solves the problem, not just for our test input, but I guess we won't be able to visually see the grid change over time, but let's see if we can actually solve the actual input. So let's do this guy, and the only thing we'll do is we'll just change the example input from the actual input. And then we'll set the expected to -1 since we don't know what it's actually going to be. And we'll give it a run. Sorry guys, I wasn't trying to ignore y'all. Mason, you're in the Caribbean. Nice. I'd like to visit the Caribbean someday. Programming 101, 90% debugging, 10% actually writing code. Yeah, unless you're vibe coding, then you just have the LM do all the debugging and writing. You just sit there and drink your coffee, I guess. I'm gonna catch up here on the chat a little bit. Somebody was here and I missed them saying hi, which I apologize for. Let's see. MD said congrats for 7K subs. I appreciate that. I didn't realize we had crossed that number, but that's awesome. I wonder if we crossed it during this stream. Oblivia said, POV, you end up having 2 meetings at your job to choose the best name for a new variable introduced in a PR. That is such a real thing. having meetings to decide on the names of things. Oftentimes it's the names of classes, it feels like. Does string work the same in Go as C#? If you do first name plus last name, it's 1 allocation, but if you use the string builder, it's less allocations. Yeah, Mason, that's what the string builder class in Go is for. It's same like the string builder class in C#. It's just a way, because strings are essentially immutable by default, you get a new one allocated every time, and so the string builder helps you avoid those allocations in a really tight loop. It probably doesn't matter that much here, but if you're in a really tight loop, it would matter, I think. I think I caught everyone's question that I missed. Yeah, I think I caught everybody. All right, so let me scroll to the bottom. It would calculate int A equals 10, int B equals 20, console.writeLine would be 30. That's what perplexed me the other day. It didn't in C#. blah. Mason Sherbro, let me know when you're coming over. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to visit the Caribbean. 67 Alaska. I buy you coffee, Steven. Yeah, buy me coffee, man, for sure. Now code like a king. Well, I guess you sent me those super chats, which I could use to buy coffee. So you've already bought me some coffee. String only works in C++ to CS, but code comes to those that waits for it. I don't even know what you're saying, 67 Alaska. This has been your shtick for the last couple days. Pablo called you a bot the other day. Okay. Now we run this. We're all caught up. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you guys. I was just kind of locked in there for a second. Okay, go test, and instead of the example input, we're going to try the real input. Now, this is just a brute force approach, so it's possible this might run for a little while. Nope, that was really fast. Okay, 8451 is what we got, and I don't know if that's high or low, but we're going to check it out. So let's go. Day 4. Yeah, day 4. Stick that in here. Hey, let's go, man. That was. Does anybody find that like that was a deceptively straightforward day? Because basically, you could just reuse part 1 in a loop to solve part 2. That seems like a very deceptive. So we can remove these comments. Now, I think what I'd like to do is I think there's a way we can solve this without, because I think we're doing a lot of iterations. Let's actually count how many iterations we're doing in the actual input. It may not actually be as many as I think. If 0 format.println count. We did it, man. We did it. Oh, we also need to add 845 as our expected value, but we'll do that after we do this. So we actually only scanned 59 times. That's a really small number. I don't even know if it's worth trying to find a better approach. I also think what we could do is, instead of doing this, we could add let's see. I'm not a super big fan of the idea of mutating things, but what we could do, since we already have this type of implementation, is we could have a thing that's like set value at, like that, set values at, and then we could pass in the positions, and we could pass in a list of position.position, and then we could pass in the value. Like this, set values at. Six, 7 Alaska. I've just begun. Oblivious. Recall that video I accidentally posted on part 1 for day 3. It was just a while loop around my part 1 with curses framed update. Oh, curses frame update. Oh, that's how you did it. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I wish I could figure out how to print the grid on every iteration so I could actually see it move. But I think what I can do is I could do something like func g grid set values at positions and pass in this. And then instead of doing what I did here, man, I'm surprised at how few iterations this requires, but I don't think this works if I think this is a little problematic. I don't know. Maybe it's not problematic. I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm thinking there's a better way to do it with like a stack, where you basically have like a list of possible, where you basically keep a list of what needs to be removed, and then you remove it one by one, and after you remove it each time, you check to see if I don't know. We solved it. It's fine, Steven. You can let it go. So then what we could do is we could call grid dot, or sorry, not grid, g dot set positions at. We could pass in positions to remove, and we could pass in the empty space character like that. And then we can get rid of all this. And I think that will still work. Oh, whoops, sorry. We didn't actually we didn't actually implement that method. I declared it, but I didn't actually implement it. So we just need to take everything we have here, and we need to put it here. That's funny. So what we'll do is we'll say we'll do grid like that, and then we will set this to whatever value they passed in. And this would be, there we go. And now we can get rid of this. It's half dozen or the other, but this feels better to me. So 8451, I believe that was what the right answer was. Let's share this on Blue Sky real quick. Post. I'm suspicious. Why was that so straightforward? Yeah, 8451. I'll take it. Man, day 4 was by far the easiest day of this whole thing so far. I'm only 4 days in because I'm doing one part a day. But by far, yep. All our tests passed. Let's go. Oh, you meant day 4. Ah, fair enough. Well, nice. Very cool. So you ended up in the same place I ended up, Oblivious. I like it. Renee, so you see the problem is when you run .NET out of the box without a project directory, it is actually doing so for you in the background in a temp file, I'm guessing. So you sort of blind, you don't know knowledge of the back. You're sort of blind if you don't have knowledge of the background boiler C# code. Yeah, that is true. When you do .NET, when you do .NET index.cs or .NET run index.cs, like a single file, what do they call them? They're calling them file-based apps. They do programmatically generate a project for you in the background. That is true. Born to Shine. I'm trying to build a distributed job queue at least once delivery in Go, but I don't really know where or how to start. I think I've seen some good YouTube videos that talk about separating the process at least once from the delivery at least once idea. But maybe I'll try to see if I can do some digging on YouTube and see if I can find. I feel like I've seen some videos on that exact topic. I've never had to implement that myself though before, so it would be new to me as well. Renee, I still don't know which boilerplate it uses out of the box. Perhaps Steven has some some knowledge on the matter. No, I don't. I think it just generates your typical boilerplate top level statement type of console project, if I had to guess. I mean, you can inspect it. You can get the temp directory. So if you go to you can actually figure out where it lives at if you want to inspect it. If you go to if you have a file-based app like this, and let's see, let's do let's open this in NeoVim, and we'll go to index.cs. If you do console.writeline app context, I think base directory, I think that will print what you're looking for, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's a temp directory. Yeah, see, so this will show you exactly where everything lives at. And we can actually open that, I think, in Explorer. Yeah, so you can see, let's go up to run file. Yeah, I'm not sure where it all lives. I don't see a csproj file in here. Runtime config, this must have something to do with. Yeah, I don't see a csproj file being generated, but I'm pretty sure they do on the fly create one. Yeah, you can see I have a lot of them. Yeah, I don't see a CS project file in any of these, but I'm guessing something in here informs how the app is built and ran. If I had to guess, it's built and ran just according to whatever SDK you're using. Probably defaults to console, but I've seen people build minimal APIs, so I think you can change the SDK to like the web SDK or something like that, and it'll work. Or the Blazor SDK, and it'll work. Renee probably hidden, yeah. I made a distributed queue in C# for the WinForm desktop app. Nice, nice, a distributed queue. Distributed queue. That's a fun set of words to say. Distributed queue. Oblivious. Our code is 1-to-1, just Python instead. That's awesome. Yeah, let's go. Great minds think alike. So what do we do now? I guess now we need to merge this up. So get status. Get, actually, let's do let's make sure there's no like comments or. Ahmed, thanks for subbing. Appreciate that. I feel like I introduced something No, it looks clean. Let's do a quick grep. Make sure there's no unwarranted print statements in here. Cool. So let's do that, that. And let's commit it. We'll do feature, solve. Oh, whoops, actually, hold on. We need to open this in VS Code and add our README comment. Oh my goodness. This was easiest day of AOC this year by far. There we go. Now let's commit everything. Get commit in feature solve day 4 part 2. Fantastic. Look at us. We're doing big things. Good morning, Bradley. How are things in Australia, my good sir? Hopefully your day was good. It's kind of interesting when we talk to each other, Bradley. I'm just starting my day, and you're already at the end of yours, which is really weird. It's like you're time traveling. 6-7. That sounds fun. Sounds like a fun game. Also, why does 6-7 last? Why does it feel like you're just like hard spamming characters into the chat? lots of quotation, lots of quotation marks in your messages. I don't understand. GHPR merge. Fantastic. Well, that concludes Advent of Code Day 4, which was suspiciously, in my opinion, suspiciously straightforward. So I'm behind. So I know a lot of you guys are probably much further ahead of me. Let's see. Let's view my leaderboard. So here's what my leaderboard looks like. We have some people from my Discord that are doing. Bite Slayer is absolutely killing it. Pablo is killing it. Look at all these people. They're crushing. Absolutely crushing. But I'm behind. So I'm basically only doing one part a day. So once everybody gets done in 4 days, I'll still just be on day 6, I think. I'm going to drag this out till all 24 days of Advent, basically. So I'm doing my best to like duck, dodge, and dive around spoilers on the internet right now. And so far I've been pretty successful at avoiding spoilers. Basically, if I see the words AOC, I just like avert my eyes. But that's the plan. So I think now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go work on that the grounds for support website now. I think is what we're gonna work on, or web app, website, whatever you want to call it. And we don't need that. We don't need that. We may need Gemini. We don't need Advent of Code anymore. We might want to reference our diagram here. So this is basically what we're going to work on next. It's like Buy Me a Coffee, but it's like a Buy Me a Coffee site, but my own. Patrick, thanks for subbing. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you, man, to subscribe. I can't see their full name. Something Code Travel and Repeat. Thank you for subbing. I appreciate that. It's very kind. First, before we do this, though, we should go make our coffee. So this is kind of a nice natural break in the stream to make some coffee, don't you guys think? 6-7, straightforward. Yeah, I feel like it's very straightforward. Oblivious. Oh, how can I join your leaderboard? So Oblivious in Discord, if you go to the Advent of Code forum channel that I made, and there's a here, I'll actually share this to you. I don't know if you can get to this from the YouTube chat, but I'll share the link. At Oblivious. No, 99 Oblivious. There you go. That is the post in Discord where I have the leaderboard join code. So the name of the post is Advent of Code 2025 leaderboard. Bradley, good, thanks. I work for a betting company and we are migrating our sports models. Platform shift from Service Fabric to Azure Container Apps. Lots to learn RE Docker. Yeah, but I feel like that's a W, don't you, Bradley? Like putting stuff in containers. I think it's a win because that means now you have these little boxes of applications that you can really take and put wherever. I mean, I know you're using Azure now, but if you guys ever wanted to do it somewhere else, you totally could. I've never used Service Fabric, though. That's new to me. I've never heard of that or used that. Definitely, I have used Azure Container Apps, though. What's it like working at a betting company, Bradley? I'd be interested. Like, what's that like? Do they give you free bets or money? See you, Born to Shine. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for being a member, man. Have a good day. Renee, coffee. Yeah, we're ready. We're gonna brew some coffee. Some coffee. Oblivious, got it. Thanks. Awesome. Yeah, get on that leaderboard. I bet you're up there. I bet you're close to the top with Pablo and Bite Slayer and all those guys. Bradley, if you've never worked with SF, don't work with Service. Yeah, I have never worked with Service Fabric. I've only used Azure. Very like the last time I used Azure was probably a year and a half or 2 years ago. I was using their app service plans quite a bit to deploy stuff, and then once I got a VPS or once I got a private server that I could host things on myself, I've still been containerizing everything. I just haven't been using app service plans or Azure container apps to deploy with, because I'm always very fearful of running up really large cloud bills. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always super fearful of something. I have alerts. I have spending alerts and budget alerts on all the clouds where I have accounts, but I'm always fearful of getting a bill for like several $100s or thousands of dollars. So I kind of avoid deploying to the cloud. I know that's a skill issue on my part, but I just see these horrifying tech Twitter posts of people getting a bill from Vercel or from Azure or AWS for thousands of dollars. Sounds like an absolute nightmare. Renee, I doubt it. Maybe free bets. It'd be cool if they gave you bets, man. Gave you money to bet with. That'd be really cool. I don't bet much. I don't gamble much just because the idea of losing money that I have is more painful than the excitement of winning money I don't yet have. So I don't really gamble. But I have lots of friends. I have lots of family members who are totally ate up with sports betting. They bet on everything. Everything. Bradley, I don't gamble ever. Good place to work. Lots of complex moving parts, and we work closely with quants. Oh yeah, I bet that's very exciting work. And probably a good decision not to gamble. Gambling was one of those things that it kind of feels like one of those activities where it starts super innocent, but then it quickly gets away from you, if you know what I mean. right? It's kind of like procrastinating on your homework in college. You're gonna take one night off, then you're gonna take 2 nights off, and then all of a sudden, before you know, you're completely spun out. You know. Renee, big sports bettor here. Really, Renee? What do you like to bet on? Bradley, I have a test account with 3 million in it. That's pretty baller. I would take screenshots of that test account and send it to my friends just to fuck with them. All right, should we make some coffee? I'm gonna go set that stuff up and then. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. It's probably because I haven't drank enough caffeine. I'm gonna set that stuff up. I'll be right back. Ba-ba. All right, ready, chat? To the coffee station. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. I get such a kick out of it. I can't help myself.
And coffee of the day. We're on day 8. Can you believe that? We're on day 8. Man, the time flies. Time freaking flies. All right, water's boiling. Let me pull up the chat so I don't fall behind in the conversation. Also, just a shout out, Onyx Coffee. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest packaging? I show that off every day that we do this, but it's just the coolest packaging. Oh, God. Oh, God. All right, today's coffee is an Ethiopian coffee. Man, we have had nothing but coffees from Africa since we had one Colombian coffee, I think, and the rest have all been from the continent of Africa, which is pretty crazy. So, some super cynical person is probably thinking, how do you know they don't just buy the same coffee and stick it in 24 different bags and just like cause you to basically placebo affect yourself to think that the coffee's actually different, but it's all the same. Wouldn't that just be a horrible, cruel joke? I don't think that's what they did, but there's some cynical person out there that's like, bro, they tricked you. The tasting notes are jasmine. I don't even know what jasmine tastes like. Apple butter, apricot, and toasted coconut. That does not sound something that would taste good. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. All right, loud noises. Loud noise. Does anybody know what that's a reference to? Loud noises. Yeah, it's basically been just straight up all African coffees. Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia. I mean, that is the home of coffee, so I would expect them to have some good coffee. All right, water goes in, and then we wait. Okay. This has a very distinct smell. It's very, what's the word? I can't place it, but it has a very distinct smell. So I'll be interested to see what it tastes like. All right. We'll leave that sit for a couple minutes. We'll go back to the desk, and I guess we'll figure out what we're going to do next. I mean, we're going to work on building this project.
We talking about betting? We are talking about betting. Renee, you won a bunch of money on a Spanish golfer? No, on an Australian golfer? That's pretty cool. I mean, the idea of winning a bunch of money sounds very exciting, but the idea of losing a bunch of money sounds horrible. So, gambling is a no-go for Steven. It is a no-go. Renee, don't know what jasmine tastes like, Steven. Probably a magical taste with good things about to happen. Yeah. I mean, I like jasmine rice. Jasmine taste. Delicate, fragrant, and floral flavor profile with sweet notes in the aftertaste. Well, that thing definitely has a very fragrant floral smell to it. That coffee. Let's hope the aftertaste is good. We'll do grounds for support. I'm still in the process of actually setting this project up. I haven't actually finished setting it up. But eventually we're going to get it set up and we're going to push it up to GitHub. And then we're just going to start trying to iterate through features for it. Inflation is hitting most countries hard right now. I think, yeah, inflation's kicking butt. I'm not a slacker, honey. Good morning. How are you doing? Why are you up? Or I guess you're not up early. I guess it is a Monday, so you're actually right on time. But good morning. And I'm not slacking. I was making coffee. We already finished admin of code. We already finished the puzzle for the day. So now we're going to drink our coffee for the day. Okay? Don't need you tell me what to do. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we were kind of all over the place, weren't we there? We were talking about sports betting, Jasmine, and coffee. Someone has big feelings this morning. Uh, imagine if that was the type of conversations we had at work. When people are having disagreements and stuff. If we talk to our coworkers like we talk to little kids, if you're like, "Wow, someone's having big feelings right now." Can you point to the color on the wall and tell me which color you're feeling? Or point to the zone on the wall and tell me what zone are you in? Are you in the green zone? The yellow zone? That would be really funny. Bradley, I like a little caramel syrup, sugar free, of course. Yeah, it's sugar free is difficult for me because as a gym bro, I really respect the fact that it's sugar free. But as somebody who likes like the taste of their coffee to be good, I don't think sugar-free syrup actually tastes very good. I think it has like a weird aftertaste to it almost. So sometimes it's to me it's almost like it's almost worth the 80 additional calories because I don't drink sweetened coffee like that very often, so it's like, give me the 2 tablespoons of, you know, 30 grams of sugar or whatever, and I'll make up for it somewhere else. Steven was talking about sports betting. I don't have anything to do with that. Uh, yeah, we don't do any sports betting around here. That is the combos I have at work. Yeah. That's the combos we should all be having at work. But we should just be having them with other adults. Yeah, I would not start that combo. I mean, the I think if anyone was to gamble, it would probably be. I mean, if one of us was to actually get into gambling, it would be Kelsey, not me. Bradley, how do I get in the Discord? Do I need an invite link? So if you hit this website, Bradley, I basically just set up a vanity URL for it, so I don't have to worry about whenever I change the invite link, people, updating it in 10 different places. So if you just go to, oh, Renee just did it. If you just go to discord.stephenfreeborn.com, it should redirect you to the actual invite link. And I don't do anything to I don't use those vanity URLs to track people or anything like that. It's just purely an easy way to remember where to tell people to go. Like linkedin.stephenfreeborn.com is much easier to remember than linkedin.com/ whatever my handle happens to be on that platform. That's why I set up all those vanity URLs, just to make it a little easier. All right, so the story behind we need to get the coffee. I almost forgot. Hold on. I almost forgot the coffee. One sec. We're going back.
That would have been bad. We start down the rabbit hole again and forget the coffee. That would have been a no a bueno. Dude, the stupid Android phone won't let me copy the link. Tisk tisk. Yeah, YouTube's weird about links like that. But discord.stephenfreeborn.com, you could type that into the browser and it should redirect you if you want in. You don't have to join. No one has to do anything. I don't expect anyone to do anything around here, you know? But if you want to join the Discord, you're more than welcome. There is an application on my Discord server, but that's more to keep that's really to keep the ruffians out. I find that trolls and people who like to spam are actually kind of lazy human beings, and so any amount of friction you put between them and their ability to spam or troll you is actually pretty effective at discouraging them. Like in order to chat in my live, oops, I've got two mics on. In order to chat in my live, you have to subscribe to my channel and you have to wait 5 minutes. And I think that's just too much effort for a lot of the trolls out there. Oops, hold on. Sorry. All right, more code. Time to work on this project. All right, switching back to.
All right. All the coffee shenanigans are over. Thank you for hanging on there with me. This stream is powered purely by dopamine and caffeine. Got to get that Discord mod to make that thing fancy. Yeah, man, my community is so small. You know, it's like I don't really have a need for mods. And my community of people, or like the group of people that I have hanging out in my Discord, are actually really nice people. We don't really have many jerks or douchebags in the Discord. And if there were any jerks or douchebags in the Discord, I would just drop the banhammer on them. It's like the grumpy dad in me. The grumpy dad in me has like zero tolerance for any type of like shitty attitudes. Life is too short to hang around people that are just shitty in general. Is that coffee advent only for Africa? No, I'm not sure why so many of their coffees are. I'm not sure why so many of the coffees have been from Africa. We just finished, the box is divided in like 3 sections. So it's the first 8 days, the second 8 days, the third 8 days. So I'm kind of curious if like the first 8 days were very heavy in one part of the world, and the second 8 days are in another, and the third are in another. I mean, most of the coffee growing regions, though, are kind of, I mean, you don't have coffee growing regions spread out everywhere globally, right? Because you need very specific climates, very specific altitudes to grow good coffee. So I would expect us to travel, I would expect the coffees to come from Africa, and I would expect the coffees to come from Central and South America, maybe something from like, yeah, maybe something from East Asia, possibly. Like, I think some of the larger coffee growers have some fields there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It wasn't just for that one area of the world. I don't know why we've had so many there. Perfect weather for the plants or something. I don't know. No, I mean, coffee originated in Ethiopia. I mean, that's where coffee's from. That's where the plant originates from. So it makes sense to have good coffee grown in those regions of the world. But there's great coffee grown in other regions of the world. So hopefully they spread it out. How does Africa compare to Southeast Asia and South America? So I think Southeast Asia is where a lot of the large coffee growers, like large coffee producers, grow really high volume coffee. So I think Southeast Asian coffee doesn't have a particularly good rep for high quality coffee because it's primarily a place where they grow large volumes of coffee. But I think the best coffee I've had, the best kind of floral tasting coffee I've had has been from Africa, like Ethiopia. All those coffees from that area of the world have a very floral, like, smell and taste to them. And then some of my favorite beans that I've had myself have been from South America, Central and South America. And that, to me, those beans tend to be like roasted on the darker side, and they tend to be less floral, right? To me that's the biggest difference I can taste in coffee is like really floral tasting coffee versus not floral tasting coffee. Like if you brew a cup of coffee from Colombia versus a cup of coffee from Ethiopia, there's a very big difference between those two cups of coffee. But the spectrum to me, for me personally, just my taste buds breaks down a lot when you talk about other like differences between coffee. I can't tell as much of a difference. Renee, yeah, dude, Vietnam is the world's second largest exporter of coffee. That's what I thought. I could be making a lot of this shit up because most of it I just gotten through secondhand reading and listening to people talk about coffee. But if I what I had read about like coffee sellers like Folgers, like that people that supply coffee for those really big, large, high volume brands, a lot of that coffee is grown in Southeast Asia, I guess, because of the altitude and climate is, I guess, particularly good at producing large quantities of coffee year round. Again, I'm no coffee expert. I'm no code expert. I'm just a random guy in his basement in Kansas who likes to talk about these things. So please take all of it with a grain of salt. See you, Bradley. Have a good day tomorrow, man. Get some sleep. Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate you joining the Discord, man. Coffee economics. Now that's a YouTube channel I would watch. If anybody wants to start a YouTube channel about coffee economics, count me in. I'll be a member to that channel day one. Renee, yeah, something that blew my mind was in Vietnam, they roast it on a fire for 20 to 40 minutes. Oh, that's crazy. That's a long, that sounds like a long time to roast coffee, but I've never been a coffee roaster. So, filthy potato, just a guy. That's right, just a guy, man. Just a dad. 32-year-old dad of two, happily married, just trying to figure life out. Try to save enough money to where I can make work optional. That's kind of my number one goal at the moment. Renee, doesn't Hawaii have coffee plantations? They do. They do. They do indeed. Um, right, Kona coffee is what they call. It's what they're kind of known for, I think. Kona coffee. Also, I love the way you spell coffee. uh, Kona coffee is the market name. Um, this is the market name for coffee cultivated on the slopes of Huala, Hualale, I don't know how to say that, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce these because I'm just gonna sound so dumb. In the North and South Kona districts of the Big Island of Hawaii. Pretty cool, Hawaiian coffee. Who knows? Maybe that'll be in the advent calendar. I know there is a place on their website where you can go look at all the coffees for all the days, but I'm not looking at the coffees because I want them to be a surprise. You know, I want to have an experience. I spell coffee the Boston way. Nice. Everyone knows random facts. I'm just a person with no random facts, only silly dad jokes. Well, silly dad jokes are OP. I don't care what my kids say. My kids say I have the worst jokes. I don't care. They're excellent jokes. They're dad jokes. Hey, good morning, Pablo. How are you doing? What are the big feelings? Well, so Kelsey, when she woke up, she came into the chat and was saying that I was a slacker, and then I started defending myself that I wasn't a slacker. And then she said, "Well, someone's got big feelings this morning." But I think now she's making lunches for the kids. What's next? Coffee history? What's next? Coffee math? I would love a channel that was like, and maybe there is a channel and I just don't know about it, but a YouTube channel that's like all about the coffee industry, like the business, the economics, the quality, the research and development. Like make me a vlog series of a coffee company. I would support that thing, like basically like The Office but for a coffee company. I'd be in on that day one. That'd be a great channel. So many more companies don't understand how much of a brand building exercise that would be if they actually started a vlog series of their company. Like, other human beings want to connect to the story and the people behind the brands that they purchase products and services from. There's a huge missed opportunity for companies to have like an ongoing daily, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever cadence makes the most sense. Like, think of your favorite brand, right? Think of your favorite brand that you buy stuff from or you buy services from. How cool would it be to be able to see the behind the scenes of everything that goes in to it? It'd be awesome. Kelsey, mine are better. She's still here. I thought she was making lunches, but she's still here. So we got to be on our best behavior, chat. Oh, somebody retracted their comment. I think I saw what they said, but they must not want me to answer it anymore. How do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. Nice joke. Yeah, that's a dad joke for sure, for sure. Let's see, source. Whoops, not project. Source. Why couldn't it find that? ls source. ls source. There definitely should be something there. Could not find a project to run. Oh, that's because I'm using Go options and not proper flags. I'm sure Kelsey can do 20 things at once. She can do 20 things at once. Kelsey is a exceptional human being, an even better mom and wife. And I don't say these things to get myself out of the doghouse. It's just the truth. I selected well when I picked my life partner, and I got lucky. I mean, I found my life partner really early on in life, and I feel bad for people that maybe don't get that opportunity or aren't, don't have that same luck. I got really lucky. Okay, here's my this is what my wife just sent me. How do I screenshot this? I blame Kelsey. Kelsey's disrupting the productivity of the stream. I don't know if you guys can see this because I said she was busy. She said, "Oh man, that's really hard to read." She said she sent me a picture of my boys' lunches for school, and she said, "I can make, I control you and make lunches, bro." US, I saw you mention code off chat, so I deleted it. Oh, no, sorry, man. I don't want you to think you need to delete your thing. We can talk about code and chat, and we can talk about anything. Yeah, so if you have a question, I'm happy to answer it, man. You never, you don't ever have to feel like you need to pull your message, unless you just really want to pull it. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Just dapping up the CEO of our fave company. I think it would be cool. I think it'd be really cool to have behind the scenes vlogs. Filthy potato. Oh dang, it's finals week. Man, I don't envy you, man, but I wish you the best in finals week, but I do not envy you. Finals week is so stressful. I think I've told you guys the story about my anxiety attack after my last, well, it wasn't my last final, but my first semester, the first semester of my senior year of college, my capstone course was biochemistry. There's Biochem 1 and Biochem 2. Biochem 1 was kind of the theory and lecture, and then Biochem 2 was more of the practicum, where you're actually in the lab many hours a week. And after I took my final, after Biochem 1, I left the school, I left the campus, and drove to the gym where I was training people, doing personal training at. And for whatever reason, I had this horrible thought that I had completely failed the final, and the course, this capstone course for my degree, was only offered every other semester. So if I failed the course in the fall, I couldn't take it again until the next fall, right? So it was like if I failed this final, it was going to prevent me from graduating in the spring. And I remember just having this like overwhelming sense of anxiety. I got so anxious about it that I sent an email to the professor and was like, "Hey, I know this is so weird, but like, could you grade that? Could you grade my test as soon as possible and let me know how I did?" And lucky for me, he was super nice, and he did that. And I got an email back like 30 minutes later. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the email. This was, and my biochemistry professor was also my advisor. And you can see, like, I was kind of in a panic. Like, I wrote, not to be an annoyance, but if you do get the finals graded before final grades are turned in, could you post them to Blackboard? I feel like I choked severely on the final, and just knowing whether I'm right or wrong would give me some peace. I understand if you are too busy to do this. I was freaking out, man. I was freaking out. Luckily, though, I did fine. I think I got a B on it. I was freaking out. Filthy potato. Been with my lady for 7 years, married for 6. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations, man. Yeah, I found my wife super early in life. I was 15 when I met my wife, and then we got married when I was 22. Basically, my senior year, the spring of my senior year of college, we got married. So we've been together a long time. I've been with my wife longer than I was without her, basically, at this point. Filthy potato. Oh my god, that's how my classes are. I can only take one class once a year if they even have those classes again. W email. That delayed heat hits for about. Oh, we're talking about the peppers. Steven, use Moldovan balm in the future. No, it's not Moldovan balm, Renee. It's lemon balm. That's what it is. Remember, Arvin looked it up. He had the wrong tree. or the wrong T. Yeah, but I get that, filthy potato. It's very difficult when colleges do that, where they offer the courses, like you have to have these courses, but they offer them on some sort of weird cadence. So if you miss it or you fuck something up, you're like screwed for a whole year, right? And so needlessly, in my opinion, but yeah, it's kind of stressful. I don't know what I am in college, sophomore, junior. I don't know. I just want the paper. Yeah, I feel you, dude. I feel you. I and you know what's funny about this filthy potato is I have my paper. I've shown I've shown this before on stream. This is my paper. See, look, I have a degree. I don't think you guys can read the Bachelor's of Science part, but it says Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry. No one has ever asked me to see this thing, ever. Every job I've worked at, no one has ever said. Everyone has said I need a college degree, but nobody has ever asked to actually see the degree, which to me is weird. I guess maybe they do a background check and maybe your transcripts show up on your background check. I don't honestly know how they validate that. Pablo, I once went to a final and we were 2 when I left. I realized I did one exercise wrong and that was silly. I did another one that was similar correctly, so I sent the professor a message saying something. Filthy potato. I get my associates in August of 26, though. Awesome. Congratulations, man. That's very exciting. Just slap it on your resume. Yeah, I mean, that's basically, I kind of am suspicious. I wonder how many people do lie on their resume and then but they get away with it. Like people never check. And I wonder how often that actually happens. And 10 minutes later, she answers, "Oh, it's such a pity. You could have done better." And I was like, "Okay, I failed." I said, "Oh, I can attempt it again. No problem." Well, that's such a shitty response on her part. "Oh, it's such a pity. You could have done better." That's such a crappy response, I feel like. For those degree naysayers, if you want to work abroad, need those papers for a visa, you need them papers. Oh, interesting. So those papers are important if you want to work abroad. Huh. Yeah, I've never had anybody ask for mine. So maybe if I ever get a chance to work outside the United States, I'll get a chance to show it off. She then said, "Oh, no, you got a 9 out of 10." And I was like, 4 would have been enough. Well, you killed it. Yeah. Well, I don't know why. Sometimes you just have those experiences where you feel like you prepare for something really well and then you show up and it feels like it's way harder than what you thought it was going to be. And so then you just start to second guess yourself and then it spirals and now you're in an anxiety panic attack. And I mean, I'm not saying I was in a full blown or that you were in a full blown panic attack. I just mean you're super worked up about it, right? Like, yeah. That's actually the worst part about test taking is the feedback loop is so long, right? You take the test and then you gotta wait to get the grade. It would be so much better if you could almost get the grade as you were taking the test, or get the grade immediately after turning the test in. I think that would be very, very helpful to alleviate a lot of stress. Ooh, that sucks, dude. Well, I think Filthy Potato, were you here yesterday where I was talking about? Also, I love the fact that your username's Filthy Potato, so I have to say Filthy Potato like 20 times in a stream. Were you here the other day where I was talking about the fact that some universities have purchased products that are supposed to do detection of AI use and they're returning false positives and accusing people of cheating when they didn't cheat? Have you heard? I've had 2 people that I know directly tell me that this has happened either to them or that it's happened to their kid. And that just sounds like a nightmare. Like how are you supposed to prove that? Like if an AI accuses you of using AI on an assignment, but you didn't use AI on the assignment, how do you disprove that? That seems like that seems like a horrible system. I'm going to read now while it's still calm and quiet. Bye. Bye, Kels. Love you. I'll be up in 30 minutes or so. Love you, honey. Thanks for hanging out with us. Filthy potato. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That just seems 100% horrible. You use AI to detect AI, but we can't use AI. Exactly. I'm halfway to being a graduate, and to be honest, I actually did nothing this entire time. I did learn web dev and Python a little bit. What would you suggest as a senior dev to a wannabe dev where to start? Well, first of all, I don't think you're a wannabe dev. I think to be a dev, you just need to say you're a dev. I mean, I don't think anyone's allowed to kind of gatekeep a title, you know? How good you are as a developer, right? That's another thing. But if you want to be a developer, call yourself a developer. You can be a you know an early in career or just beginning developer, but you don't have to have fear about calling yourself that, right? You're not a wannabe. Um, I guess my advice would be, what would my advice be? I think I guess, are you asking more from like a professional perspective, or are you asking more from just a like being a person who builds stuff, being good at building things, right? Because they're kind of different things. Like being a developer in a professional setting is a whole different set of skills than just being someone who can build software, right? It's kind of two different things. Well, yeah, and well, Pablo's advice is like excellent advice as always because he's much smarter than I am. But that advice he just laid out for you is exceptionally good advice, especially for a from a career like professional perspective. I think that's exceptionally good advice. Like you can't boil the ocean. It's just there's too much here to be good at everything. 90 or again and again, junior versus senior is just a job standpoint, which is not always related to your experience and age. Couldn't agree with that more. Yeah. I think there's a lot of baller developers out there who probably have never held uh maybe they've never even worked professionally as a developer, right? But they've been just building software that a lot of people use. I think that is a real thing that happens in the world. I think if I'm honest, guys, I think people who make a big deal out of junior and senior role titles are just people who want to kind of feel important. I mean, does it matter for like pay and raises and salary ladders at companies? Sure. But I think people who get hung up on titles, it's largely an ego thing. It's largely an ego thing. Filthy potato. Did someone say boil the ocean? I've never heard that. Pretty nice metaphor. Yeah, I don't know where I picked that up. I stole that from somebody. I heard it. It's somewhere along the 32 years that I've been on this planet. I heard somebody say it. It's a well-known saying in Kansas. I I've only lived in Kansas and Missouri. So I'm guessing I heard it for the first time somewhere in Missouri. uh, Pablo Senior is communication, leadership, independence. Well, that actually Pablo just those three things Pablo just listed, that was going to be my advice like in a professional setting. If you're looking for like you want to be a developer and you want to work for a company, those were the things I was going to hit on. Was you should be good technically. Like you should be good at your job technically. But I think what really will set you apart is, do you take initiative? Can you work independently and autonomously? And can you be trusted to do so? And then can you also communicate really well? Can you communicate with words? Can you communicate with writing? Can you communicate clearly and concisely? Can you communicate complex technical things to non-technical folks? Those, to me, those things are invaluable for a technical person. They'll really set you apart. Pablo, it does matter though. You want to make your juniors reach their seniority because they are far more useful as seniors. That's fair. That's fair. But I think that has less to do with title and much more to do with, like what Oblivious was saying, has far more to do with like experience and skill. Did someone say good old Springfield? And then throw up emoji? Let's see, I'm a West Coast boy. I moved to the Midwest last year just to move to Wisconsin next week. Wow. Or no, Washington. WA's Washington. Um, wow, those are big moves, man. Big moves. Cross country moves. Eduardo, what do you think about data centers? What do I think about data centers? Data centers are big and complex, noisy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've never actually been inside a data center in my life. I've driven by them, driven by some big Google ones in Oklahoma, but never been in one. So I guess those are my thoughts. I don't know. I don't think about data centers that much though. Renee, what is Kansas famous for? I have no idea. I moved to Kansas when I was 27, 28. I grew up in Missouri, so I don't even know. I don't know much about. My kids know more about Kansas and Kansas state history and all like what's the flower of Kansas and what's the all those sorts of things. My kids know more about that. Stefano, what do you think about Flutter? I've never used it. I've heard good things about it though. I actually have a friend at work, a developer at work, who I guess has some idea. He hasn't told me what he wants to build, but he says he has some ideas, and so he's working on learning Flutter so he can build these ideas because he wants to be able to, I guess, have native applications, but he only wants to author these things once, so he's using Flutter. So I guess in a couple months I'll ask him what he thinks of that. Bouncing everywhere. We are bouncing everywhere. We're all over the place right now with the chat. At some point in time, you can't afford trying to train juniors. Totally agree. Totally agree. Oblivious. IT is so broad, you can become essential and highly specialized by just learning a handful of specific things. It's a good point. And science operates the same way. It's much easier to have some people that know a lot about a very little thing and then just pair all those people together and have them work together as a team than it is to have everybody learn everything about everything. Eduardo, what languages you code? So I primarily, like, as you can see, I have a Vite React app up. I primarily work in C# and TypeScript. Like, we're getting ready to build this application, and we are going to build it in .NET, which we're going to use C# as the language. But the front end is going to be built in, whoops, I shouldn't have done tree with the node modules in there. But can I limit the level of the tree command? Tree command limit level. Tree-L1. Let's see. Let's look at the documentation. Tree F. Whoa. That's not what I want. So I can't limit that? That'd be awesome if I could, though. Well, what I was trying to do, Eduardo, was I was trying to answer your question by showing you the structure of the project we're currently building, which is this. So we're basically going to build The API is going to be in C#, and then the front end is going to be a React TypeScript application, and those are pretty much the two main languages I write. I do know how to write Python, but I kind of avoid it like the plague because I don't really care for it. And then I just recently started learning Go on November 1st, so I have known Go for all of like 38, 40 days, and it's been good. It definitely didn't overtake C# or TypeScript for me, but it was a good experience. Flutter is not native though. Well, doesn't Flutter though allow you to distribute native things? Pablo? Like, doesn't Flutter code allow you to build and send stuff to different platforms as native things? I could be wrong. I just know he picked Flutter because he wants to be able to have like an Android and a mobile app, but just have it live in one code base, kind of like .NET MAUI in the C# world. Renee, yes you can. Tree help, tree depth or something. Oh, so you can. Renee, try depth. Eduardo, try rm-f-r. No, you're not getting me today, Eduardo. You're not getting me today, chat. I think in IT, you are a generalist or very specialist in only one area. Yeah, I don't know which is the best path either. I think it depends on the company. I think if you're at a big company, it probably makes sense to be a specialist. I think if you're at a small company, probably makes sense to be more of a generalist, right? Small company, you need to be able to wear lots of hats. People value people who can wear lots of hats at small companies, right? You're a force multiplier for them. But I think at big companies, probably a specialist is valued more at a big company, if I had to guess. Abhi, hello. Having used these languages, can you tell me the superpowers of each language? Go, C#, Python. Okay, superpower of each language. Python's superpower is you can write the fewest lines of code to accomplish the task at hand. I think that's Python's. That may not be true in all cases, but I think that's Python's superpower. C#. What would be C# superpower? That one's difficult. I think C# superpower to me would be it allows you to write very performant and scalable code without thinking too terribly much about doing it. I think C# does a really good job of creating a pit of success that you just kind of fall into, right? There's definitely foot guns in every language, but I think that's probably C#'s superpower. Go. I don't know what Go's superpower is. I mean, my favorite thing about Go, I just made a video about this, but I think my favorite thing about the Go toolchain is they have testing and benchmarking built in, like built in, out of the box, which I love. I think maybe that's its superpower. I probably haven't written enough Go or built enough things with Go to answer that one very clearly. Pablo, yeah, sure. You can ship native apps, but so can do that with Cordova or Iconic. Oh, yeah, I don't know what those are either. I just know that I think probably he picked Flutter because that's a more popular, maybe programming language to do that stuff in. P, how to decide the right tool for the job when choosing frameworks and languages? Well, for me, I usually pick what I want. You know, like I like to work in C# on the back end, so I pick .NET and C#. And I want to work in some sort of framework on the front end to make life easier. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one because there's a lot of things that go into like making something the right tool for the job. There's the people that are doing the work. There's the project that is actually being built. the problem that that project is meant to solve. There's the timeline on which you need to build it and ship it, right? There's the resources you need to build and ship it. Yeah, it just there's too many contextual things. I think there's not. I don't think there's a one size fits all rubric. In my opinion, it's all very contextual when you're picking the right tool for the job. Eduardo, what language did you start learning at first? So the very first programming I ever did was in 2014 and 2015 in computer programming 1 and 2 in college. I took those as electives to fill out my schedule, and we did C#. So that was the very first programming language that I was introduced to. Ah, fair enough. Now I understand the Flutter issue, Pablo. Thank you for clarifying. I loved that in Go you could embed a file system with your app. Yeah, I love that too. I actually, it's funny you say that because I was having a conversation with Gemini about this. Let me see if I can find that conversation really quick. It's funny you say that. C# embedded. Crap, I can't where. There we go. I really, Jamil, thanks for subbing. I really enjoyed that functionality in Go too, Abhi. And so I actually was asking Gemini, like, how can I recreate this in C# and .NET? Because I've never, I mean, I've done embedded resources before, but nothing like an embedded file system, right? And it turns out you can kind of sort of recreate this in .NET. You can bring in a particular package, and then you can just embed everything in your root directory and essentially use it sort of the same way. You just basically tell this middleware to use this file provider instead of the actual file system, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, I love that. I love that functionality in Go as well. Eduardo, do you know Linux? I know some Linux. I'm not an expert. Like, I'm not a Linux sysadmin. I don't do that kind of work. But I do have some VPSs that I host websites and apps on, and I know my way enough to set those boxes up and secure them and deploy to them. So I know my way around it enough to like get done what I want to get done. But I'm in no way a sysadmin, right? You wouldn't hire me to be a Linux sysadmin. I don't have the skills for that. Bash is so cool though. There's nothing wrong with Bash. I don't use it enough though to be good with it. I took the course on Free Code Camp. That was like a Bash scripting course. It was a lot of fun, but I just don't do enough Bash scripting every day for it to stick. I have to look it up. Anything I want to do in Bash, I usually have to look it up. Yeah, WSL2 is great. Big fans. Man, we've done a lot of chatting, haven't we? Sorry about that, guys. I honestly don't know if it bothers you guys when I get bogged down reading chat or not, but I know we haven't really worked on this project at all. Tree ls no. Oh, that's the command. Let me try to show the directory structure. Tree -l or -i. What is that? Git help tree. NG Tontai Linux still best. I don't know, man. I like Windows myself. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Tree-L node modules. Too many. Is that an I? What is that character? An L or an I? Can't tell. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I don't know why not. Eduardo, how are you doing that in PowerShell? What do you mean? The oh my posh stuff? This? That stuff? That's oh my posh is how I'm getting that prompt in PowerShell. It's an I? Huh. I don't know why it's not working for me. I'm guessing the tree command is probably different, maybe, than what you're thinking. Let's see what we can probably ask Gemini. Tree command. I for island. I like how you spelled that out for me. Steven, it's I. It's I for island. Oh my gosh, please don't use oh my posh. You can directly use the PS1 variable in the shell for all that. Why create a needless dependency? Hold on. Abhi, you can okay, I want you, okay, if you're gonna make that claim, I want you to recreate all of this for me, all of this functionality for me, without using oh my posh, and then send me the code. If you're gonna make, and then dude, oh no, that was Eduardo. No, Abhi, if you're gonna say that you can do everything oh my posh does, just with PowerShell out of the box, you got to back that up with some code. Yeah, you got to back that up with some code because I don't think that's true at all. Yeah, I think the problem is the the tree command in PowerShell is not the same as the tree command on the Linux box. I can share my PS1. Share it, dude. Yeah, show it to me. Send me the link. Join my Discord. Here's my Discord link. Because I call bullshit on that, man. I call total bullshit. I don't think you can recreate all this just in your PowerShell profile. Yeah, oh my posh is a bit more than a PowerShell profile. Yeah, 100% it is. Eduardo, how much time to accept Discord? Oh, not at all. I just have to look. I didn't know anybody had submitted an app. Also, Eduardo, I saw you said that you got to go, so have a good day, man. Appreciate you hanging out. Very kind of you. He said Windows is for people who like to work for money, aka not weirdos. Dude, what is up with this guy? He's just like, these are some hot takes He's throwing into the chat. This is crazy. See you, Eduardo. Have a good day, man. We already saw it on NeoVim. You can forget about tree. Yeah, we can forget about that. We can figure that out another day. We can figure that out. I just wanted to kind of answer his question by just showing him that I like C# and TypeScript, so that's what I use. Here, enjoy it. Yeah. That's not even... that's not even... Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not even... Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I don't think that's the same as Oh My Posh Man. I'm sorry. That's not even PowerShell. That's Bash. uh, I don't mean to be an asshole, Abhi, but like when you come in and say, "Oh, don't use Oh My Posh because you don't want to create a dependency," and then you say you can accomplish all of that same functionality. One, you can't, and two, what you sent me is not PowerShell. It wouldn't. It's not gonna work in PowerShell. Yeah, I know it's a function, man, but this is not. Do, do you know we're not in Bash. We're in PowerShell. So I don't think that accomplishes Bash is greater than Batch. That is true. That is very true. Changed my mind. Yeah, that there's hands down. Yeah, there's no comparing. Pablo, you can install Bash and do this with a single dependency. Abhi, I use Bash. Well, that's fine, Abhi, but I I think Abhi, I think you're like completely disconnected from the context of me and my setup and what I have going on. So, so I mean, it seems like you made a claim that you had no right making, that you don't need to use Oh My Posh for this because you can recreate this in Bash. But this not even. I'm on a Windows box in Windows Terminal using PowerShell. We're not even having the same conversation. By the way, does someone have a way that all the bash commands are aliased in PowerShell? I think a lot of them are, like ls is. Um, a lot of them are aliased. Um, but I don't have like I didn't do anything to customize that. I just fired up PowerShell, and a lot of those aliases are already there. Abhi, you don't. All terminals use ANSI sequences. Yes, fair enough. Again, Abhi, I think you're beating a dead horse here because the fact of the matter is you can't recreate what Oh My Posh is giving us just using PowerShell. I don't even think you know what Oh My Posh does or can provide you. I think you're just trying to advance the fact that you do something a particular way and that should be the way everyone does it, which I just don't fuck with. This is not. Yeah. You do what you want to do, and I'll do what I want to do, and we can both have great lives and have a lot of fun and enjoy our time working on our machines. Renee, no, I mean the serious commands. I don't think there's equivalents though. Renee, yeah. Avi, not really, but it's all right. Yeah, I just call bullshit on what you said. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. All right. We only have like we only have like 2 minutes left of the stream, but I would like to get something done on this before I turn off the stream. And what are we gonna do? So the last thing we had to do, I think, was we wanted to set up. We have our test. That's fine. We wanted to set up. What do we want to set up? We have targets for installing the client deps and building the client. Oh, I know what it was. We wanted to set up client tests. That's what it was. So I'll probably use vytest because I'm using Vite. The question is, where do I want those to live? It probably makes the most sense to have them live here in the client and not in the test directory. Actually, I've never done this before, but I'm kind of curious. Can you set up, let's see, Gemini. Let's say I have a Vite React app and I want to use vytest for testing. Can I put the vytest in a completely different directory from the app without it being an absolute nightmare? I don't think so, but I think it'll cause me a lot of headaches. I should probably just keep it in the same directory. If this is vibe scripted, make sure to say "oh my posh" and not "oh my bash." Yeah, you should definitely make sure you get the naming right if it's vibe scripted. Filthy potato, constructive criticism. I don't know if anything I said was constructive, but I just don't like it when people say shit that is not factual and you can't really back it up. You know, like I'm not afraid to say that I don't know shit. There's not a lot I don't know, but I do know that oh my posh is much more than a PowerShell function. There's a lot more that oh my posh provides you than just a PowerShell function that manipulates your path segment. Let's see. Yes, you can absolutely can. It's not a nightmare. The structure. No, this isn't really what I'm talking about. No, this is not what I'm talking about. The anti-nightmare factor, path aliases. Yeah. I'm gonna keep pushing Gemini on this. Okay. So what if I wanted to move these tests outside of even the app folder? Like, imagine I have a source and a test-dir folders, and the app folder lives in source client, and I want to put the vytest project in test client.test. I know this is such an anti-pattern, but I'm hacking together this architecture to begin with, so I'm just seeing how far I can push the bastardization. And Renee, doubt that would work. Yeah, I doubt it would work too. I didn't know what Oh My Posh was until I started watching last week. I installed immediately and got mine set up. Yeah, it's a really, really cool framework. I mean, I'm guessing it was largely inspired by the work of Robbie Russell on Oh My ZSH, but I'm really, really glad that somebody picked up the mantle for us PowerShell users, because it's a really fun, nice way to make the terminal feel like home, to make the terminal feel like your home, you know? To prevent the nightmare, path aliases and tsconfig. You have two options here: config at root or config an app. The nightmare prevention, TypeScript. This is where most people fail. If you don't configure TypeScript correctly, your tests will show red squiggly lines because they don't understand what at components means, or they don't know they are part of the project. You need a root tsconfig that encompasses both folders. Interesting. Do I trust Gemini's without would you like me to show you how to set up the package.json scripts at the root so you can run npm test without having to cd into the client folder? I mean, yeah, that's fine. Show me, yeah. Show me. I'm basically, what I'm trying to do here, if anybody is watching that isn't talking in chat and is like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I'm basically trying to figure out how I can work through the .NET toolchain, but have all of my client-related JavaScript, TypeScript-related stuff all kind of be orchestrated through the .NET toolchain. So if I write .NET build, I want to build my .NET solution, but I also want to build this front-end client. And then if I write .NET test, I also want to kind of be able to test my .NET solution, but also test the client. So I'm kind of trying to bastardize how this is all set up and how this works. And I've never set up a project like this before, so this is a first time thing as an experiment for fun. First, ensure has the basic test script. Okay. This is the worker script, the root package. Now configure the root to delegate commands to the client folder. This tells npm go to, oh, I didn't know this existed. -- prefix, is that real or did it hallucinate that? Well, you might be tempted to try running vi-test directly from the root, but that often causes headaches. I'm half tempted to pursue this, even if it leads to a nightmare. Is this a real thing? npm -- prefix. Under npm run script, it says npm run script, but it doesn't say anything about -- prefix. I propose something like this. For those who came here because -- prefix was mentioned in the Firebase docs, I can confirm that the suggestion to use something like cd also works well. Okay, so this seems to be a well-known thing. We do eventually want to refactor or remove it, but for now we should at least not be promoting it. Dude, doesn't that just scream software engineering? Like, there's a piece of functionality in there. We know it's there. People are building with it. People are depending on it. But we don't want them to. But we're still leaving it there. But at some point in time, we're probably going to rip it out. That's so funny. Let me see. See Artwork Studios. Oh, yeah, you were here for a second. Good to see you, man. Doubt that would work. Blah, 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 blah. This is about me. Yeah, this is my hotel management system. Blah blah blah. We serve potatoes in the morning, afternoon, and night. Sign up today for a 5-pound bag of potatoes of your choice. That's a That's a good website, man. It's a good lead. If you move all the config to the root, this is doable. Let's see. You don't need a monorepo. Multiple package JSONs will be a nightmare. Yeah, that's like, I'm kind of like, that's where I'm like, do I even want to tinker with this? Like, is this going to take me longer than if I just stuck the test in that client directory? It probably would be much easier if I just put the test in grounds for support client. If I just put the test in here, I can go on with my life. But I kind of think it would be cool to, yeah, I kind of think it would be cool to do it differently. So v set or vi test setup new project. Do they have like a quick start command? Guess we just install it, huh? And then we can configure it if we want to. Let's go into the client. I realize it's 7:10 too, so I probably can't spend too much time screwing with this. I wasted too much time interrogating Gemini. And then I should probably have, where does it look for? It doesn't necessarily look in a folder, right? Vitest looks for specific file names that end with test or spec, right? That's how it finds. I don't think I need a config file yet. Rampla, have you seen that tech CEO on TV tripping balls? No? Who are we talking about? Tech CEO, man, you guys are derailing me. Tech CEO tripping. Oh, are you talking about Brian Johnson, this guy? The guy who wants to live forever? Is this who we're talking about? But he wasn't really on TV. I guess he just live streamed it. I saw him post on Twitter about that, if that's who you're talking about, Rampla. I don't know if that's who you're talking about, but if that is who you're talking about. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, I didn't watch the live stream, but I saw his tweets about doing that. All right, guys. Well, I screwed around for an hour. The last hour of the stream, all we did was talk about shit, and I tried to get Gemini to figure out how to architect my project in such a way that wasn't awful. I don't know if I'm going to use any of this, but yeah. I mean, otherwise, pretty successful stream. We did Advent of Code Day 4 Part 2, and then we just kind of shot the shit for a while, didn't we? W stream, yeah, I think it was a good stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let's see. So let's do our normal wrap up snare. There's 31 of us here, so we got a nice group. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me to the end. If you're new here and you want to interact with me and chat outside of this thing that we do here every morning, the best place to find us is in Discord. We're all kind of spread out across the world, so time zones are, all over the place. But the best place to find us is Discord. And then if you want to come back and you're like, hey, I kind of like this guy's stream, I kind of like this guy's chat, you can come back in the mornings, or at least mornings for me. I'm normally live from 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I just put that schedule in the chat for reference if you guys are curious. And as far as content that you can expect from the stream, is going to be more of this, at least for the month of December. We're going to work on admin of code. That's kind of the priority. And then whatever happens after that happens. Sometimes it will be a productive coding session, and then other times it will probably devolve into what it devolved into this morning. Regardless, we'll have fun. There'll be lots of dopamine and there'll be lots of caffeine. All right, y'all. Renee, have a good day. Thanks for hanging out with us. Artwork Studios, it was good to see you. Filthy Potato, wish you all the best in class and in finals this week. I'll be thinking about you, wishing you well wishes and rooting for you. Rampla, thanks for stopping in. Pablo, appreciate you as always, trying to guide me to the right path in the JavaScript world. Appreciate you, man. Who else? Anybody else still here? I think that's it, or at least recent chatters. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a great Monday. If sorry Tuesday, have a wonderful Tuesday. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow, hopefully. And if I don't see you tomorrow, maybe I'll see you in the comments of a video or a short. So, all right, bye, chat. Bye. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day.